Hello everybody, Spooky Sandwoman here. Thank you for checking out episode something of Seduce Me the Otome. Last episode, James told Diana off. Cool. And now we do the do. I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. Bye. James let out a sigh, relaxing in the embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. Really? I could hear James's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words.
I wasn't lying, you know.
I looked up at James, wondering what he meant by what he said. James smiled down at me, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me.
I love you. I love every single fiber of you. Your mind, your body, your soul. You're quite possibly the most interesting woman I have ever met. You always find your way into my mind.
I stared wide-eyed, blushing like a maniac. Was this real? No way. This couldn't be real. Was James confessing to me? Confessing his love for me? James gently smiled. James gently smiled and caressed my cheek. The warmth of his hand invited me to nuzzle into it, and I closed my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding to the point where I was sure James could hear it. James gently leaned in, closing his eyes. He stopped, however, remaining just a mere torturous inch away from my lips. He wanted me to show my feelings for him. He had left himself open for me to kiss him or leave him empty. The power I had was unbelievable. I'ma kiss him! I loved him and wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. I gently leaned in, letting my lips finally touch his gingerly. James let out almost a pleasured purr against my lips before wrapping both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deepen to a heat and tight. Oh damn, we gonna do it in the study. My chest was pounding, making me feel and see fireworks in my mind. James was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted, demon or not. There's cat fur all over my face. It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was the sense of magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through James's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kiss rose higher and higher. Gently, though, James slowed the kiss down and pulled away, staring down at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. Hold on. James opened his mouth to speak, but as a very small blush ran along his cheeks, he was reduced to shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy, though. Right? Are you...
No.
I stared wide-eyed, feeling a blush on my cheeks grow. He didn't say anything more, but I knew what words would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. I was stunned. Was I that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? James gently lifted his head and kissed my forehead, losing the blush and finally being able to speak.
If you don't want to, we don't have to.
I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment with an incubus. He was the demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. My world would rock, and I would enjoy every second of it. I'm gonna try to talk closer to the mic because there's people outside my room. At the same time, I was indeed inexperienced. Diana wasn't wrong when she claimed me to be innocent. Did I want to give that innocence to him? Especially this early? I found myself forgetting the words yes and no. What could I say to him? I knew what I wanted, but how to say it without breaking the moment. Seduce me. Saying it to Sean Connery would ruin the moment, wouldn't it? Damn. I couldn't believe the 2 words that came out of my mouth. It made the most sense to tell him yes. I needed him. I wanted him. Those 2 words must have made something in him finally break. James quickly resumed the kiss with me, to which I eagerly kissed back and pulled him closer to my body. The heat inside of my chest was craving his touch, and I needed to deny any space between us. Oh boy. James lowered a hand and brought one of my legs around his waist as he lowered his hand to my waist. Without breaking the kiss, I gripped at his shoulders and jumped off of my feet. Oh my gosh! Wrapping both of my legs around him, making him hold me up. Oh my god. His touch kept raising my need for him higher and higher, bringing my mind to the desire that was buried in the back of my mind. James held me, kissing me deep and making me moan against his lips. I could feel our bodies sink into the ground, noticing a gentle gold glow penetrate through my closed eyelids. Oh, and now we're in a room. My room. Cool. Before I could open my eyes, however, I felt our bodies fall onto a familiar feeling bed with James landing on top of me. Oh boy. Oh lordy. Oh my gosh. Why am I freaking out at this one? This is like the... Rachel, you're stupid. I stared up at James as he pulled his face slowly away from mine. His eyes were almost glowing in the dark room, piercing into my soul and making me shiver in anticipation. Sorry, Rocky Horror Picture Show. He effortlessly removed his gray sweater and red tie, leaving him in his tightly fitted white button-up over me. I could practically feel the heat of his skin through the thin fabric. However, as he held me, I could slightly feel the shiver of his hands. Was he nervous? Was I his first? He wasn't gonna show it. He wanted me to enjoy this moment, but was afraid of screwing up. His shivering hand showed me his emotions perfectly. I gently reached up and brought his head down, kissing him once again. I wanted him to not worry. The pleasure between us would be heavenly, and we'd go through it together. Well, hello, big boy. Tookie tookie. It's like, Mom. I closed my eyes and gave myself to James. My mind, my body, my soul. It all belonged to him as he held me. His body, his mind, his soul. It all belonged to me as I gave into his embrace. His kisses and fingers over my skin would forever engrave themselves into my memory as our passion rose through incredible heights. Our breaths and moans to each other equally sounded and echoed like a blissful chant we wished to never end. We kept moving, loving, feeling every inch of our bodies until we had had enough, and I was enveloped in his embrace. Skin to skin, heartbeats matching, we held each other in the glow of the aftermath. I nuzzled my head under James's chin as he held me close.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Just to hear those words come from James's mouth made my heart flutter. To hear me answer made my soul warm in glee. I could feel both of us sink into a peaceful sleep together. It was the best sleep I had had in days, and I was happy. I had love, and I had my happiness. My life was simply perfect, even though, like 4 days ago, I was saying, my life sucks. When I opened my eyes, I found myself staring into James's bare chest. I blushed, but looked up to see James still sleeping. His sleeping face made me giggle softly, but the reality of the situation made my heart flutter. I couldn't believe it. I was lying next to a man I had grown to love with all of my heart. His warm embrace made me feel safe, and as the tender moment we just shared replayed in my head, I couldn't help but smile and snuggle into his chest further. Unconsciously, he held me tighter to his body, giving me more of his warmth. I didn't want to move, but then my core suddenly tightened and made me sit up without waking the man next to me. I felt my legs move and bring me to my balcony window, where I opened the glass and stepped out onto the patio. I stared wide-eyed at Diana, who sat cross-legged on the railing of my balcony with her glowing red eyes stare upon me. I opened my mouth to object, but Diana stopped me.
Before you get all huffy, I didn't come here to take your precious man away. By the way, how was it exactly? Demons are the best lovers, after all.
It was good. I glared. What do you want, Diana?
Well, I just wanted to see how you truly feel. You know, without him around to influence you.
What are you talking about?
I'm giving you an opportunity to come clean about these feelings of yours and to give you your salvation.
What was Diana up to? This was beyond crazy. Nothing she had done made sense. Why was I still alive at this rate? What's keeping you from just killing me and taking them?
You are not worth my time.
Not worth your time? What are you, afraid something might happen? All at once I felt my body being lifted into the air and moved past the railings, leaving me with nothing but the ground below to threaten me with a collision death.
Oh, trust me, dear. I'm not afraid to kill you. I can drop you right now and leave your body to rot until the morning, when the boys would find you.
I wanted to speak, but the thought of her letting go and letting me fall to my death scared my voice into silence. Diana then chuckled and willed my body back to the balcony, sitting me down gently.
Alas, if I kill you, then the boys would never come with me willingly back to the demon world, and then I'd have to chase them all around the world, or kill them and drag them back. But then their father wouldn't be happy, and blah blah blah. Too much work.
Diana seemed very business-oriented, as if the boys were cargo more than men. It irked me, but she then smiled.
I'm giving you one chance to denounce your love for the demon in your bed, and let me take him and the other boys back to the demon world.
And why, may I ask, would I do that?
There are so many reasons why, actually. There's the reason that he's a demon and you're a human, so you two can never truly have a happily ever after. Then there's the reason that demons truly do not know how to love, despite what he may proclaim. The list goes on and on.
Hey Diana, how about you go fuck yourself?
The point is, if you give me the boys, I will promise you eternal happiness.
Eternal happiness.
That's right. I have the power to give you anything you desire. Power, men, women, money, fame. Name it, and it's yours. A demon never goes back on their word, and I have the power to obtain anything you wish. Our deal is our contract.
I could only stare in shock. This was a dream. It had to be. However, Diana smiled an almost genuine smile at me, shaking me to the reality of the situation. She would never smile like that.
Don't you wish to be free of your destiny? Your father constantly berating you to become the next CEO of your grandfather's company.
How did you... I was almost floored in surprise. How did Diana know all of this? She was a succubus, yes, but how could she know anything beyond sexual desire? She wasn't Damien. Diana chuckled and leaned back against her arms.
Just because I play with hearts and sex doesn't mean I don't know my way around the human mind. You happen to be an open book of information, but I digress.
Shut up.
I can give you your freedom with ease. It'll be like you were always meant to have it. All I ask is that you hand over the boys. What do you say?
Was I seriously being given this choice? The man I loved for anything I wanted? A demon like Diana was powerful enough, yes, but did I even want to consider giving up the man I loved? No. She must have been crazier than I thought. I glared. Absolutely not. Diana sighed and stood up onto the railing. What I wasn't expecting was her lifting me into the air. I tried to scream, but my voice suddenly became locked in silence. What was she doing? Diana made me float over to her and smirked as we touched noses.
Well, if I can't return home with the boys, I might as well return home with the power to fight back.
Diana finally leaned in and kissed me. I shut my eyes, feeling the need to bite her lips, but finding no muscles in my face listening to my mental commands. What did she do to me? I didn't want to enjoy it, but every single nerve in my body was flaring in excitement and pleasure as she kissed me. I felt my energy drain slowly but forcefully from my body. Was she using her magic to force energy out of my body? It seemed like forever, but finally Diana... Aw, did it scare you, big boy? Stardust was laying on the ground, and his tail whacked a cat toy and it jingled in. He's like, what? You're a cutie patootie, mama loves ya. He's like, shut up. Diana pulled away from the kiss with a smile and a lick of her lips. She lowered me back onto the patio and chuckled. For some reason, even though nothing seemed to have changed, she looked stronger, powerful. It was almost like looking at a new Diana. Diana then stepped back off the railing and making me catch my breath in my throat. As she took another step away from me, she looked to be simply walking on the night air. Diana smirked at my sudden surprise.
May you never regret your choice, human. If you do, I'll happily come and take it away.
With a flick of her hair, Diana turned and walked away into the night, fading into the darkness like a shadow. I watched her fade away before looking back at the man in my bed. Did I make the right choice? Yes. My heart gave a gentle thump, giving me my answer. I did. And I will never regret it for as long as I live. I walked back inside and gently crawled back into bed with the embrace of the safest arms I knew. I snuggled close to the warmth before closing my eyes. I was happy. The rest of the story can almost be passed over. With Diana gone, my life returned to normal with school and my friends, not remembering what had happened. It was as if magic never even appeared in my world. One thing was for certain, however. James loved me, and I loved him just as much. We had promised our lives to each other, and nothing was going to take that away from us. Not even time itself. Hey! 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 What? No, don't do that. She's like, well, Mom... Our love was so powerful, it practically overwhelmed me with joy every time I found him holding me close every morning. To think, a demon ex-prince in love with a human like me. It was unthinkable, unbelievable. It was practically impossible. But it was true. The other boys decided to leave on their own accord. They knew that my future would only need James at my side, so they decided to start their own lives in the human world. James was heartbroken at first, but understood that he had to let his brothers grow like he did. Aww. Besides, James had someone new to care for now. His brothers didn't need him now that he was caring for me. I felt bad as well for being closer to James than the others, but they reassured me that I was okay and they would remain nearby should I ever need them. I was happy for that. They made me promise, however, that I would love James for as long as we lived. That promise was instantly given. But what of my future? Well, that was kind of made for me. Before I graduated, James decided to step up into the light of the Anderson Toys Company, and with the help of his demon powers and the leadership charisma, he managed to influence not only the entire board, but my father as well into letting him run for CEO. I was beyond shocked. How James managed to do all that was beyond me, but when the vote was called, James had taken over the company I was destined to have. He vowed to respect the wishes of the lead CEO and help the company become an even grander company. For a demon, it was simply to make a company grand. My grandfather would have been proud to see how James helped it shine. With the CEO position filled, my father had no choice but to let me decide my future, which made me happy beyond compare. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help James build the company? Did I want to venture off on my own? James reassured me that he would support me and help me through whatever I decided to do, promising that I came first before the company he had come to reign over. I was grateful and would never forget that promise. I was happy, and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. One night, a good couple of years after the boys and I had met, I had a moment to myself, so I sat in my room and took all that had happened as if it was a dream. The demons, the devils, the magic. It was all surreal to believe. It almost frightened me to think that it could have been all a dream. But the warm feeling in my heart reminded me that it was all real. The demons, the magic, the love I had, all real. I smiled as I held my hands to my chest, relishing in the feelings dancing within my soul.
Are you okay?
I looked up from my lap to see James standing in the doorway, cross-armed with a playfully raised eyebrow. I smiled and blushed a bit. Yeah, I'm okay. I was just remembering how we met and such.
Were you now?
Yeah, and I wouldn't change anything. James smiled and walked over to me, gently taking my hands and kissing over the knuckles sweetly.
Come, I have a surprise for you.
I raised an eyebrow. A surprise? What the heck was he plotting? James simply chuckled and kissed my forehead.
I promise you'll love it.
I'm not really good on surprises, but I'm gonna believe you. Deciding to go along with it, I nodded and stood up. James gently took my arm under his and led me out of my bedroom. I stared in shock at the path of golden rose petals lining the floor, creating a path away from my door. James led me down the golden rose path as if this was all part of his plan. James? What's going on? James didn't answer. He continued to lead me down the stairs of the lobby, where the path wound into the dining room. I stared in shock as I saw the tables set with candles and a large bouquet of golden roses decorating the middle. James, I feel sort of undressed, you know?
There's nothing wrong with how you look now. You're beautiful no matter what clothes you wear.
Thanks. I couldn't help but let a red blush paint my face, making James chuckle once again. He led me to my seat, where I was greeted with a plate of shrimp pesto on the table. James!
Remember what that is?
Of course. That, sir, is a shrimp pesto dish. James laughed and smiled. I smiled back up at him, feeling nostalgia run over my heart. Giddy happiness bubbled as I looked up at the man I had loved. You made it when we first met, and you and your brothers were apologizing for getting blood in the lobby.
Well, it was more than that we had to apologize for, but that was the gist of it, yes.
How could I forget? What's this all about? James gently bent forward and kissed my forehead sweetly, making me giggle slightly.
You are such a wonderful woman. I can't believe that I can love someone this much. You have changed my whole world, and now you have become my everything.
Oh.
I practically get scared waking up every morning in case this is all just a blissful dream.
James! Before I could speak further, James gently placed a finger on my lips, hushing me, before he caressed my cheek. I nuzzled into his hand, almost purring at the feel of his warmth against my cheek.
I love you, and I will never stop loving you. No matter what comes our way, I promise to be there for you as long as time keeps moving. I want to be yours forever.
Oh. Oh, shit! Before I could realize what was going on, James slowly got down on one knee beside me and took out a small black box. He lifted the top to reveal a purple ring with a purple gem crowned with gold and purple embellishments. I stared, my mind instantly freezing in surprise at the sight. I felt my eyes water at the immense feelings bursting inside of my chest.
Will you, Miss Anderson, marry me?
I was speechless. I felt myself break and start to weep in joy. Was this happening? This had to be a dream. I mentally begged every single deity in the sky to never wake me up if this was the case. I fought my tears trying to speak to answer his question. I didn't want to leave him in the dark, and I didn't want him to be on the ground for so long. Yes! Yes, I will! I stood up, crying and jumping in joy as James smiled the biggest smile I had ever seen on his face and slid the ring onto my ring finger. As it finally ended its upward journey at the crevice of my finger, James stood up and took me into his arms, kissing me and sealing my words. I gained the heart of a demon. No. Of a man I loved. I vowed to cherish him and love him for the remainder of my days and beyond. Could a demon love a human forever? I knew James would. And that was my happily ever after. Aww! That was cute! Fucking cute! That's cute. Damn! Turn my fan off so it wouldn't pick it up in the mic, and now it's really freaking hot in here. Alright, that was the end of James's route. Next time, I guess we're gonna go for Sam. Wow. Oh, that was adorable. I actually think I liked Eric better, though. I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Share with your friends if they like proposals. Cute things. I don't know. Go ahead and spread the word. Do something. I don't know, do something nice. Alright, bye-bye.